So here's the plan for this week. Roller coasters, roller coasters, roller coasters. So I'll hand out the paper. It's already posted, and we'll talk about it. But first, I need to talk about where we're located this week. I'm going to include this in the virtual video because some people may be watching that aren't here today. So because of all the testing going on, we're going to meet in different places this week. So first period, which is all you need to care about, and I guess all you really need to know is tomorrow. Tomorrow, first period will be in 2113. So there will be testing in here during first period tomorrow. So you'll go to 2113. Got all sorts of things to keep up with. So 6th and 7th. Oh, 6th and 7th don't have to worry about it because I'm back in my room. So only first period has to worry about it. On Wednesday, we'll be in 4103. And on Thursday, we'll be in 2103. Again, you can write all those down, or you can just remember that tomorrow you better go to 2113. You probably won't even be able to get up here because they'll be testing. What's that? Yeah, most of you guys will be not in here this day. Are there any seniors in here? Well, that makes it easy. Good. And again, that's why we're doing roller coasters, because you're going to be in and out. Some of you probably have the AP test on the next day. So you got time. You guys that are at home, virtual students, I'm probably not going to post a whole lot of videos this week or next. You've got your time to figure out, just get it done by Friday is the assignment. Okay, so that's all you need to know. Tomorrow will be at room 2113. Let me pass out the assignment and we'll talk about it. All right, so here's the PDF of the assignment. The roller coaster. A company has asked you to help design a roller coaster track. The thrill ride company wants to build a roller coaster subject to a set of constraints. You are told that the company has several engineers. Blah, blah, blah. This basically just means you need to define a piecewise function that is a function defined in pieces between 0 and 15. So those are your x values between 0 and 15, whose graph satisfies the following constraints. Each unit represents 10 meters, but that doesn't really matter to you. You just want to make it hit these points. The entrance to the track is at 0, 10. So there's your starting point. The exit is 15, 0. So that's where you end. There are at least 2 local extreme values. So you need to go through 4, 2, and not just go through 4, 2, but 4, 2 needs to be a minimum. So 4, 2 would be the bottom of a valley. And hit a maximum at 8, 8. So maximum would be at the top of a mountain there. And it just says at least 2. So if you want to go crazy and put quite a few in there where it's a crazy roller coaster, help yourself, knock yourself out. But it needs to go through 4, 2 as a minimum, 8, 8 as a maximum. You can also extend your exit. So once you get the hang of this, it's not really that hard to figure it out. And if you want to sort of elongate yours to make it more interesting or more fun or put more hills and valleys and drops in there, you can. So you can go past 15, 0, but you still have to finish with a y coordinate of 0. So you still got to finish, on the ground. The slope of the curve at the entrance and exit points must be 0. So you got to start out shooting out straight. You can't start out on a hill. And then when you end, so whatever, it goes up and down, it's got to end at a flat spot as well. Important, the curve must be smooth. This is real big. I'll show you an example in a minute of someone who did not do this. The piecewise function must be knit together without any kinks. So let's say you start out with a cosine wave, which would be really smart because this is what a cosine wave looks like. And then let's say from there you want to do a sine wave, and you want to start where a normal sine wave starts. So you do something like that. Well, that's a kink in the track. You can't do that, right? That would be really tricky to navigate. So you've got to have smooth entrances and exits, or the whole thing has to be smooth. So none of that. I'll show you one in a minute when I show some examples. You must build the roller coaster out of pieces. I don't know that there's any other way to make that happen. You couldn't do like one sine or cosine graph to meet all of those constraints. It would be impossible. So that's on there, but there's no way to do it any other way anyway. So this next paragraph is a little bit changed. You may work in a group of 2 or 3 people, or you can fly solo. Your choice. But not a group of 4. It's always easy to do this because if you've got like some super tight set of 4 friends, well then congratulations, you've got 2 groups and you can help each other and talk and have fun, but you would be 2 groups of 2. You guys online, you are welcome to work with each other. If you've got a friend that you know is virtual, you're welcome to work with them and submit one assignment. When it gets to the submission, you only need to submit one. And so if somebody's, if you're a group of 3, one person will submit, 2 people will look like they haven't submitted anything, but I'll put the grade in to match. So anyway, that just makes it a little bit easier for you, and I think easier for me. But you don't have to submit. Not everyone needs to submit. Just one person needs to submit. You must use a minimum of 3 functions to build the coaster. I really don't know that you could do it in less than 3 anyway, given the constraints that we have. So that's not really that big a deal. What you will submit is a PowerPoint or any other kind of presentation. If there's some other online, Prezi is out there. If there's other, Google Slides is fine. Some sort of slideshow. PowerPoint's the one. I don't know, PowerPoint, Google Slides, whatever. Some sort of slideshow, minimum of 3 slides, and included in those slides is an embedded video. And I don't know the technology. If you can put it straight in, or if you want to record it and put it on YouTube and then have a link to it, that's fine. Or if you want to have it pop up right there, you can figure out what the best way to do that is. The slides and the video, you're going to explain your equations, but no more than 1 to 2 minutes long, or it's got to be between 1 and 2 minutes. Like, I don't want a 10-minute explanation of every single amplitude, period, phase shift, vertical shift for the 5 equations you use. Like, I don't want to sit through that. So make it quick. Your presentation can also include some theme stuff, some colors. In fact, look on the back and I'll show you the rubric. So this is just so you know, I will have blank copies of this, and this is what I'll be using to score. So as you're working, you might be checking this to think to yourself, well, did I hit these? Is there a theme? Is it a good theme? That's kind of subjective, but as long as it's, colorful and you've got a theme, it's not just a bunch of equations, then you'll probably get all 10 points. Is it neat? Did you use some color? Again, I don't want just a black and white PowerPoint submission. This is just yes or no. Does it enter at the correct point? Which is 0, 10. That's kind of funny. Does it exit at the correct point? 15, 0. Or beyond 15, 0. But it would have to go through 0. So 18, 0 or 20, 0 if you want to make it a little bit longer. The correct maximum was 8, 8. Minimum was 4, 2. Do you have your equations presented correctly? And then there's some judgment stuff on the PowerPoint and the video. And so you can kind of read through those as you think about making your presentation and making it look good. let's look at some examples of the PowerPoint so you know kind of what I'm thinking when it comes to this thing. I can find them. All right, we'll start here because this is the one that's messed up. There is a kink in this roller coaster. Do you see where it is? The start of the red part. Okay, it's maybe tricky to see, but right there, this slope, the blue would have a slope of 0, and the pink or red would have a slope of not 0, positive. So they tried to fudge it so they wouldn't have a kink there, but they didn't do that right. That's a kink. So that would lose you some points. That transition looks good. That's the only transition, so that's fine. Let's see. I wish they had a scale on that so I could see where 8-8 is. And I guess if that's 0-10, 8-8 would be probably over here somewhere. 4-4 is, that's probably 4-4 right there. But I would have liked to have seen that. Let's back up to the top here. On ramps, roller coasters. So here's one. The Hot Wheels is their theme. There's the graph of the picture. They've kind of color coded this, so I like this. So the first one's yellow. That's this equation, and then orange, which is kind of close in color, but I guess it sticks with the Hot Wheels flaming thing here. Equation 3, equation 2. So they've kind of mapped out, and they've explained what each thing is, although I don't see equation 2 anywhere, so that would be a bit of a problem. Uh-oh. Stop messing with their slide. So that's a great looking theme, great color. I like the fact that they color coded so it's easy to match up. I put a little bit of thought in here. Apparently it'll be on the Kima boardwalk. A little bit of explanation of safety stuff. This is only one slide though, so that would be a problem. Here's one with more than 3, so this one goes together. So they've kind of outlined it piece by piece and explained again what each piece does. Most people are starting with cosine because cosine starts at a maximum, so it's kind of already set up for your first one to be cosine. After that, you can kind of figure it out. So there's his section 1, section 2, section 3. I would really like one graph of it all together. And sure enough, this is the one that has the kink in it. But I like the slides. I like that they laid out each one individually and then put it all together. That was nice. Was there a theme to that, though? I mean, I need more of a theme than a picture, right? I need a name. Name your roller coaster. I need more than pretty pictures. This is a good one. Welcome to the Jukebox. And they've got... So they've got different sections are labeled with different songs. It's located at Hollywood Studios. Take you down memory lane where you go through many decades and enjoy the amazing music of the time. That's a great theme. Good thought. I hope somewhere they tell me what that equation is. It's not just that. Next slide. There we go. So there's their equation. They did the color code thing as well. What's that? Well, it's not on here, but it went with the previous one. These two were one submission. So it's only 2. But this is fine because they covered the theme in one and the math in one. So that's fine. You can't get everything on one slide. No food or drinks. Wear mask at all time. It's kind of funny. Seatbelts will remain on the entirety of the ride. So the thing with this one is there's only 2 slides, and none of these have a video because that's something we added. So if they'd make a third slide with a video, this would be a really good one. The Jukebox called out really well. Here's one with a good little intro piece there. The Sidewinder. And they've even got a picture stolen from somewhere, obviously. Yeah, they actually built this. You can go ride this. It's in the back of Kingwood. You haven't seen that yet? It's in East End. You got to walk all the way to the back, and it's back there.
If you swim across
There's that graph. What's the problem with this?
red to blue.
No, I think that's fine. I think both of those have a zero slope, so I think that's okay.
Blue to green.
I'm not sure. Blue to green might be zero. The rest are definitely zero. But I don't see what the equations are, so I can't really know for sure what's going on here. So I need to see the equations. That's fair, but that's it. So they got 3 slides, but they don't have the equations on there. Oh, wait a minute. Is this the rest of theirs? Is this still the Sidewinder?
I think
Yeah, it is. Okay, here we go.
excellent.
Yeah, this is nice. And they even got a little picture and explain what's going on there. Second segment. I bet there is. Third segment. Fourth segment lands down at... Uh-oh. There better be more segments, because there we go. So it's got to end at 15-0. They went to 19, and that's fine. Did they go too high? No, because as long as they go through 8-8, wasn't that a maximum? So there's their maximum at 8-8, so they hit that. And the other one was at 4-2, so they hit that. You don't... Right, that's another maximum. They have three maximums, and that's fine. You have to have these two. You got to have 4-2, and you got to have 8-8. But you could have other maximums and minimums. I mean, you're going to have 10-0. So is it possible to only have one minimum and one maximum? Yes. Yeah. So you don't have to only have one. But you have to go through wherever 8-8 is, it has to be the top of a hill. Wherever 4-2 is, it has to be the bottom of a hill. And then it looks like they ended at 19-0, which is fine. Let's see. Man, this is a lot. We don't need to go through all of these. Oh, the Houston Zoo roller coaster. That's fun. And there's their picture. Looks like they graphed it by hand and then took a picture of it, which is fine. And they've got the segments labeled here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the graphs with the domains. So that's nice. Nice entrances and exits. I like this. They labeled 8-8 and 4-2 for me, so I didn't have to go searching for them. Here's another one with multiple highs and lows, but they did hit the 4-2. I bet that's a kink right there, though, because that cosine, or that part of the sine, is going to end at a slope of 0. If you start midway through, you're going to start with a slope of 1, so that's a kink. You probably need all your connections to be at a min or a max. That way you'll avoid the kink issue. One more, just because that one looks cool. Roller coaster project. The Shooting Star. Oh, I don't know what's happening here. It's just, I guess that's the Shooting Star part. 9 sections. They went really all out here. I'm now curious about this jump thing. Let's see. Our domain break is 8 to 10. Because, okay, so here's an explanation. The Shooting Star will go flying through the air, attached to metal cables, and do a full 360 loop before reattaching to the rails. Okay. Good luck designing that, but it's fine. I'm not going to count off. Alright, so there's more in there, but we don't need to see all those. You got a decent idea of what's happening, I think. Alright, let me show you. Actually, let me remind you. We may not even get to computers today, and that's okay. So let's briefly go over the sine and cosine graphing. I mean, that could go for sine or cosine. You tell me, what does A control? Somebody's doing this. That's kind of right. You remember the word for it? It actually starts with an A. Amplitude. how far above and below the midline you go. So that is amplitude. Do you remember what B controls? Yes, you remember a name for this? And rather than this, I would do more with two hands. How long it takes for one cycle to complete the period is 2 pi over B. Which is why, if you look closely, a lot of people had pi or something, a multiple of pi, in their B. That way their period turned out to be something normal. So if you want your period to be 2, then B needs to be pi. So you make your equation a little bit weird so that your graph is not weird. You want your graph to be nice. How about C? What does C control? Yeah, the horizontal shift. And D is the vertical shift. At the very end, sorry. So that controls how far you move it up and down. Now, you could do this by hand, not really recommended. You can do it with our graphing calculators. Okay. I would suggest doing it with Desmos.com. Let me show you how Desmos works. It's really easy. There's just one main thing you need to know, though. You can do a scrolling thing with it. So let's just start over. That was me playing around with it. Desmos.com. When you go to Desmos.com, first option, biggest option, graphing calculator. Yeah, teachers can set up activities, and you can join a class. We're not doing any of that. Graphing calculator.
Yeah, we did an activity.
We did do an activity in Desmos. So this is really easy. You just type what you want. So y equals 3 cosine. If you want pi, you can just type pi. So pi x. Let's move it up 1. Or no, let's do a phase shift. And then we'll move it up 1. Plus 1. Why isn't it showing up? What doesn't it like about that? Use parentheses around the argument of cosine. Oh, so it tells me that that's what I need. There we go. Now, here's the part about Desmos you need. If you want to use piecewise, in the calculator it's kind of a pain. You can do it, but it's a pain. In Desmos it's pretty easy. You finish the statement, you do space, and then you do the little squiggly parentheses, that thing. And let's say I want 0 to be less than x to be less than 4. Close brackets. So now it's graphed from 0 to 4. And I don't like that because I need to start at 0, 10, but you could play with this until you got it to be 0, 10. So maybe if I moved it up 7. And then you can use your hand to drag around and... No, you cannot make a tangent roller coaster. Then on this, you hit return, you get another one, and you start on your second one. Y equals 2 cosine pi over 2 x minus 5. This is not going to work because I'm just making stuff up. Plus 3. There we go. And I want that to go from, 4 is less than x is less than 7. Oh, here's how people get in trouble. They're like, oh, I'll just add 5 and they'll, add 4. What's wrong with that? They meet up. That's a kink. So I would need to play with that a little bit and mess with it to make it match up. But it's real easy to do in Desmos because you just come over here and switch your. I'm not fixing the kink issue. It's still a problem, so I need to switch something else. That's still a kink. But anyway, you can kind of play around with it and make it work. So Desmos.com is not required, but I think an easy way to do it. And then you can take a screen capture of that and post it, or you could print it out, however you want to do it to present it to me. Any questions on that? So that's a long explanation of this project. All right, I'm sure questions will come up, so send me an email, virtual people, or if you're in here. If something major comes up, I'll post another video of explaining, but I think this is it. It's due next Friday by 3. Again, it takes a little bit of time, not a ton of time. My idea is if you spend time in class working on it, you'll be fine. But if you wait till Friday and think, well, I'll just spend the 45 minutes in class on Friday, well, you probably won't have time to do everything. So start work on it. Figure out who your groups are. And again, your submission is a PowerPoint with an embedded video talking about your roller coaster. All right. Again, email me with any questions, and I will be happy to answer them.